Hare Krishna. Om Gyantimirandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chashuromritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manabhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayambhupakadamriyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutaha Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Dalita Shri Vishakam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavameshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vanchakalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivas Adi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Please, I'd like to welcome all of you all to our third session of the Bhagavad Gita course. I hope all of you all are enjoying and learning from the Bhagavad Gita that we have been doing for the last 2 weeks, last 2 months rather. Today we are going to be doing a very critical and a very, very important discussion centered on Gita, on how Krishna, through the Bhagavad Gita, is teaching us to make important decisions in our life. Every day, we make at least 35,000 decisions. Right from when to wake up, whether to wake up, when to sleep, whether to sleep, what to wear. So many decisions we make one after another. Obviously now some decisions are not so consequential, doesn't really matter. Some decisions are very critical. So through the Bhagavad Gita, we will be learning the process of making decisions in our own lives, smaller way. And some of the things that you're going to be hearing today is probably something that you want to remember for the rest of your lives and hopefully apply it in your lives also. There are 2 types of entities in this world. There is something called Nirjiva and then there is something called Sajiva. Nirjiva or Ajiva have no life. Stones, pebbles, things like that, which don't have a life in them. There's no soul in them. They're called as Nirjiva. Sajiva are those entities that have life in them. Plants, animals, human beings. Plants of the Sajiva. Plants have Indriya, that means they have senses. But they are Achara, that means they can't walk around. Animals have Indriya and they are Chara, they can walk around. But they don't have choices. Humans, they are not only Chara and not only they have Indriya, but they have choices, which makes human beings different from all other species of life. Animals don't have choices. I don't know whether you agree or not. The cow cannot decide to eat meat one day. The tiger cannot decide to become vegan one day. These animals, they just are programmed in a particular way, and because they're programmed, they are functioning based on those instincts only. And beyond those instincts, they don't understand things. They don't have too many choices. And therefore, karma does not accrue on animals. If a snake bites you, it's not that it's going to get bad karma. The snake has no karma on you. It has no option but to bite you. It doesn't have choices. The tiger doesn't have an option whether to eat you or not eat you. If you find him, he'll eat you. He's not going to get bad karma by eating you. Animals don't have karma because they don't have choices. And because human beings have the ability to choose, they are special. But unfortunately, many human beings have still not been able to perfect their ability to choose. Still, many human beings make wrong choices. They make wrong decisions. Simply because they don't know how to make good decisions in life. There are 5 levels of choices that the scriptures describe. The first level of choice is called Annamaya Kosh. Annamaya Kosh is the first basic level of choices we make in life as human beings. As soon as a baby is born, what choices does the baby have? Whatever the baby gets, it put in its mouth. Isn't it? So for a child, the most important consciousness or the most important thought that is running in the child's mind is what to eat, isn't it? Interestingly, a lot of human beings remain in Annamaya Kosh all their life. They are only thinking about what to eat. And interestingly, I am talking in a Gujarati setup about Annamaya Kosh. Most prominent discussions in life are centered around food. Of course, if it is prasad, it's nice. So, Annamaya Kosh essentially means the entire consciousness is centered on what goes in the mouth. So, the most important choices of life are also made based on that. If you take it a little lower, to a lower strata, a lot of human beings, their life is centered around how they get their 2 meals, isn't it? How they get their basic food stuff. Now, you talk to such a person who is at Annamaya Kosh about philosophy, they don't get it. You tell them you're not the Atma, you're not the body or spirit soul, they just don't understand it. Because they are not at a level at which they can understand higher things. Because they are right now at Annamaya Kosh, that's what their need is. Of course, as I said, a lot of human beings, even after the basic needs are met, they prefer to remain at Annamaya Kosh, which is sad. The second level of choices is called Pranamaya Kosh. When the child grows up a little bit, the child starts holding things. Right? So when the child is born, the first step is Annamaya, is puts everything in the mouth. And then, at some point, the child starts developing grip, holding things. If you see a small child holding things, you cannot remove it from the child's hand. Once they hold something, the grip is so tight, you cannot take it out from the child's hand. Why? That's called Pranamaya Kosh. That is the second level of consciousness. The consciousness, the choices that are made at this level are all about what I can hold in my hand. A lot of people remain at Pranamaya Kosh for the rest of their lives. They're all thinking about how I can grab, how I can hold. We start by holding on to small stuff like toys, and then the size of the toys become bigger and bigger. The cost of the toys become bigger and bigger, isn't it? It can go up to holding houses, holding properties, holding cars, and holding bank balances. It's all about holding. Pranamaya Kosh means all the choices that you make in life are centered around what I can grip, what I can hold, what I can, take control of, take charge of. So a lot of people make decisions at that level. The third level of making choices is called as Manomaya Kosh, where the the whole thing is centered around thoughts and desires. So that means as a child grows up, there are aspirations, there are desires that come in the child's mind. Suddenly, the child starts thinking, I want to become a pilot. Strange desires that children have, in their minds. Suddenly, 10-year-old child say, I want to become a doctor. And these are all manomaya. These are all desires that come in the mind. Somebody says, I want to become Sachin Tendulkar. So these are all manomaya. When choices are made at the level of manomaya, they are based on feelings. They are based on what I feel. Lot of people make the decision based on feelings, isn't it? Some of the most critical decisions of life are based on those feelings. Who am I? What profession I choose? Most people in India become engineers and then figure out what they want to do in life. First, so it's not like you analytically understand and think and then figure out. Just feel this. That's it. I'll do it. So this feeling-based decisions is what is called Manomaya Kosh. Higher than that is called Vijnanamaya Kosh. Vijnanamaya Kosh means here the decisions are made on belief systems using buddhi or intelligence. So at this level, the decision-making process is a little more complex. There is more analysis. There is more deeper thinking. There is more core beliefs involved in it. A lot of people make the decisions in life at this level of Vijnanamaya Kosh. Of course, most people get stuck at Annamaya, Pranamaya or Manomaya. Hardly a few reach Vijnanamaya Kosh. And then somehow or other, if you reach Vijnanamaya, then you can progress further and come to the point of what is known as Anandamaya Kosh, which means that here decisions are made based on what gives you satisfaction. It's not just about belief systems anymore. It is not about just feelings anymore. It is not about what I can grab and hold anymore or desires anymore. It is not based on basic instincts and food anymore. But it is based on satisfaction, which is like the highest level of decision making. Spirituality helps you reach that level. The Gita wants you to reach a level of choice, which is that Anandamaya Kosh, which means what choices I make in life, which will make me satisfied for the rest of my life. Krishna, in the Bhagavad Gita, he introduces us to a very beautiful way of looking at life. For you to make good decisions in life, the first step in making good decisions is called widen your options. What is the meaning of widen your options? If I have only one option or two options, then how much can I choose? Usually, most human beings operate at very minimum options. Either I eat this or don't eat this. Either I marry this person or don't marry this person. Either I take up this job or don't take up this job. Either I buy this house or don't buy this house. We all operate at the level of minimum options. But that's not the best way to make decisions in life, because with minimum options, you only have a limited range of choice. So what we have suggested or what we have recommended when you want to make good decisions in life is first widen your options. What is the meaning of widen your options? Think of other possibilities. Think of out of the box possibilities. Like say for example, you have 1 crore rupees and you want to invest it somewhere. Typically, a normal thought process would be buy a flat somewhere, one investment, put it in FD, second investment, put it in stock market, third investment. Plus, you roam around these three options. But if somebody who is astute in finances guides you, they can give you 10 options how you can invest that money and how you can invest it more intelligently so that there is less risk and there's more return, isn't it? I mean, many of you are in the finance market, so you understand this example better. So, the more options you have, the better it is for you to make choices. Similarly, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna at this point is giving Arjuna many options. Arjuna came to Krishna with a problem. He had to make a decision in his life. He had to make a decision whether to fight or not to fight. He was operating at the level of minimum options. Krishna widened his options. He gave him so many options of looking at why to fight or looking at whether to fight. So what Krishna introduces Arjuna to is technically called as a yoga ladder. It's a very interesting way of looking at purpose in life. Looking at why you do what you do. Krishna is not bothered about how you do things. He is not so much bothered about what you do. He is more bothered about why you do it. Remember the last time we had this discussion on finding the very important whys of life. Decision making at the level of why is a very powerful way of making decisions in life. So Krishna introduces Arjuna to lots of ideas of what he can do in his life. He says, first option Krishna gives him is enjoy your life. That's what most people do in life, isn't it? Eat, drink and be merry. Just do it. This is a very easy way of living life. Most human beings, how they spend their Saturday and Sunday is very interesting. That determines how actually their life is. Monday to Friday, most of them don't have any choices. Of course, that also don't have any choices. But technically, you have very little time in your hand where you can make choices. But Saturday, Sunday, how you live your life really determines a lot about your priorities and value systems and how you look at choices in life. So the first way Krishna introduces to Arjuna is called as non-scriptural enjoyment. Non-scriptural enjoyment means just do whatever you want. Enjoy your life. Some people spend their day by watching Netflix. Some people spend their day just sleeping. I had a friend of mine who would sleep for 22 hours constantly. 22 hours, non-stop, he could sleep. That's his choice. That's one way of living life. So Krishna introduces Arjuna to the second way, which is called as scriptural enjoyment. Scriptural enjoyment means what? This is technically called karma karma, which means that I do something and I get something back. A lot of people in India love karma karma. They know which god to go on which day. Every day there is one god specifically for a particular problem. And if you have some major problem, there is one special god waiting, who is ready to offer you a lot of vardhan, ready to offer you a lot of boons that you can, fulfill. And there are rituals exactly meant for it. If you do this, then you get this. Hundreds of rituals. You go around India. India is a market house of gods. So many different rituals to satisfy different personalities. And of course, you get what you want. That's called as scriptural enjoyment. There's enjoyment here, but it is according to scriptures. And this is recommended by Vedic scriptures only. Why do Vedic scriptures recommend such enjoyment? Because there are so many varieties of people at different levels, as I told you, right? If you're an Annamaya Kosh, you can't expect a behavior of Anandamaya Kosh. So therefore the scriptures give you full variety of choices. And then Krishna introduces Arjuna to a third concept, which is known as semi-detached work, which is called as Sakama Karma Yoga. Sakama Karma Yoga means I do something for a higher purpose, for God, but expecting something in return. Like many years back, one man walked into our temple, and this man, he said, I'm a tailor and I want to make bags for all of you. And he would see the devotees going every day to distribute books. They would carry these heavy bags. He said, I'll make really good bags that will distribute the load evenly and all that. So we were happy. He said, yeah, please go ahead and make bags. He went and made bags. And he did a fantastic job. He got really the best quality bags which he used for years together. And then he gave us a bill. We didn't expect the bill. We thought he came to do seva, you know. This is known as Sakama Karma Yoga. He did service, but he expected something back in return for the service. This is known as Sakama. Sakama means with desire. So it's called semi-detached work. He didn't take profits from it, but he wanted whatever he spent back on it. It's called Sakama. It's semi-detached work. And then there are some people who say, we don't want anything back. We just want to come and do seva. This is called Nishkama Karma Yoga, which means I don't expect anything back in return. This is a higher level that Krishna recommends to Arjuna. Not everybody can do detached work. There's always some attachment from it. Those who do detached work are those people who are at a point in life where they have enough for themselves. Now they want to do something selfless. They want to do something with no expectations in return. They're done with getting back in return. They're done with all the business transactions with God. They're done with all of those, and they want to do something more detached. But though they're detached in their work, they are not so evolved. Krishna brings Arjuna to the next point, which is known as Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga means it is an analytical type of understanding. Here, a person is not interested in doing work. The person just doesn't want to do anything. Sit and study scriptures. Sit and absorb in deeper aspects of life. And Krishna says, higher than this is known as Dhyana Yoga. Dhyana Yoga means this is meditation. Sitting in one place, closing your eyes, and absorbing oneself in something higher. And then Krishna introduces Arjuna to the highest level in the yoga ladder, which is called as Bhakti Yoga, which means work in the spirit of devotion. What Arjuna wanted to do, Arjuna did not want to enjoy himself. He was not interested in material enjoyment. That definitely is not his focus. Arjuna did not want to get into karma kanda also. That means I do something and I get something back in return. He's not interested in that. Arjuna is not even interested in semi-detached work. That means I do something, but I at least get back what I have invested. He is not even interested in doing detached work. Arjuna was more interested in jnana. Means what? He wanted to run into the forest and study scriptures, absorb himself in something higher, and did not want to work at all. He was not interested in fighting. He in fact told this to Krishna as an option. He said, Krishna, I have only two options. The first option is that I fight in the battle and I die. Second option is I go to the forest and practice spiritual life. Because for Arjuna, he only had these two options. If you study the Bhagavad Gita, you will find this. Arjuna is telling Krishna very clearly. If I fight in the battle, I'll die. If I die, I'll go to the heavens. And if I don't die, I'll rule the kingdom, but with my blood, with my hands tainted with blood. Or I go to the forest, forget this battle, forget my work as a warrior, just focus on spiritual life. Krishna, at this point in time, he introduces Arjuna to all these options. Why does Krishna introduce Arjuna to all these options? As I said, when you have more options, you can think better, right? Gita opens the opportunities to connect material things to a higher spiritual purpose. So Krishna at this point is recalibrating Arjuna's vision, and he is trying to help Arjuna to understand that detachment is not about detaching from material things. It is not about abstaining from this world, but it is about giving up greed, selfishness, and envy. And when somebody has greed, selfishness, and envy, that person doesn't understand the idea of using material things for a spiritual purpose. So material things can either bind you or free you. Just like there were two monks that were walking along the river. And while these two monks were walking along the river, they came across a young lady who was struggling to navigate through the river. It was flooding the river. And these two monks are very experts at crossing the river even when there is flood. So one of these monks, he carried this lady on his shoulder, helped her across the river, dropped her across the river, and they continued walking. But the other monk, he was very disturbed by this. After a few hours of walking, he just couldn't hold his thought. He went and asked this other monk, "What kind of a person are you? You're supposed to be a monk. How did you pick up this lady on your shoulder and take her across the river? Why did you do that?" This monk said, "I only held her on my shoulder for 2 minutes. You have been holding her on your mind for 2 hours now." Renunciation is not about giving up externally. Real renunciation is within. The whole idea of Bhagavad Gita, what Krishna is trying to inspire Arjuna to look towards, is look towards an inner type of detachment, an inner type of renunciation. So Arjuna only thought, I have only two options, either this or this. Krishna gave him so many options. And when Krishna gave him so many options, why is Krishna giving him so many options? So that Arjuna can choose one option based on what his purpose is. If your goal is to earn more money, the option is different. If your goal is to get fame, the option is different. If your goal is to increase your resources, the options are different. If your goal is to find contentment and satisfaction, your options are different. So Bhagavad Gita first tells you widen your options. Whatever decisions you make in life, first make many options. List down as many options as you can. You might say, no, I only have two options. You're wrong. You never ever have only two options. You always have more options. But the only thing is, you're too lazy to think of more options. So Bhagavad Gita first recommends you widen your options. And then Krishna tells Arjuna that once you have so many options, to choose the right one, get clarity on what your purpose is. Understand why you're doing what you're doing. So we all can artificially renounce or work for higher purpose. Krishna tells Arjuna, you don't have to give up. You don't have to give up anything. You only have to start looking at it. How I can use my work. Arjuna is a Kshatriya. All of you are doing different occupations. So I know so many people who come to the path of spirituality, they say my work is boring. I don't find any joy in my work. I don't find any excitement in what I do. I don't find any connection in what I do with my spiritual journey. Krishna is trying to advise Arjuna, who is right now doing a mundane job of fighting a war. Is there anything spiritual about it? There is nothing apparently spiritual about it. Krishna is telling Arjuna, don't think from the point of view of what you're doing. Think from the point of view of why you're doing it. Arjuna, as a warrior, why is he fighting this war? Is he fighting this war to gain a kingdom? Is he fighting this war to make more money? Is he fighting the war to become a billionaire or the world's richest person? That should not be his goal. Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna, make the goal of fighting this war two things. One is to please me. Krishna is telling Arjuna, please me. And second, he's telling Arjuna, do it for me, for my pleasure. Second thing he's telling Arjuna is, do it because this is the right thing to do. This is the dharma karya. This is the path of dharma to do. So these are two things that Krishna is telling Arjuna to take a call on why he's doing or what choice he makes. And then Krishna introduces Arjuna to a very beautiful concept, which is known as attaining emotional distance. Whenever you make any decisions in life, you must attain what is called as emotional distance in making a decision. Most of the decisions that we make are very heavily emotionally invested decisions, correct? When you go to a mall to buy a phone, the first thing they do is give you the phone in your hand. As you go to buy a particular garment, they give you a trial option. Why do you think they allow you to try it out? You go to buy a car, they give you a test drive. Why do you think they do this? Simply to make you emotionally connected to that object. What is dating? Essentially that. Developing emotional connection with the person, isn't it? So the more you develop emotional connection with whatever choice you want to make, the more there's chance you'll make it. You will choose it. The phone is in your hand, like the feel of it, good chance you'll buy it. The dress you wear, you look at yourself in the mirror, very good chance you'll buy it. That's what emotional connection is all about. It is easy to tolerate what we want. So basically, the whole idea is many times we are impelled to act against our choice. How? I'll give you a simple example. Many years back, many decades back, when cigarette companies would advertise selling cigarettes, it would be written in cigarette packets, smoking may damage your health. Decades back. Still people smoked. Then they started writing, tobacco causes cancer. Still people smoked. In fact, more people smoked. And then they started writing, smoking kills. Straight. You see? Like first was indirect. Now it is becoming more and more direct. Smoking may damage your health. May means what? So people started thinking, I don't think it may happen in my case. It may. And then they started writing, tobacco causes cancer. So it may cause in some people, it may not cause in them. Then they started writing straight, smoking kills. After that, people started smoking. Now, they put pictures. I don't know if you've seen advertisements nowadays, lungs, picture of lungs, actually graphic visuals of people having some really pathetic, cancers and all that. Why? At least by seeing all these visuals, you will get some sense out of it. Amplifying the message, even after the message gets amplified, still people are smoking. Why? The reason is because the heart is very strongly connected with emotions. Many of the decisions we make in life, we know it is wrong, but we still do it. We know I should not do it, I still do it. I know I'm not supposed to eat this particular food item, I still eat it. These are all emotional decisions. And therefore, Krishna is inspiring Arjuna to think from the point of view of why am I unable to do this? So we may be intellectually convinced about something, but having the inner strength to resist temptations, having the inner strength to say no, to not make the choice is a totally different ballgame. Why do we fall trapped to it? In fact, Arjuna asks Krishna this. He tells Krishna, my dear Lord, I know this is wrong, but I still end up doing it. Why do I end up doing it? Krishna gives him one word answer. He says, Kama. It is lust that is pushing you towards doing it. Now, what does lust really mean? We all have this imaginary understanding of what lust is. But Krishna has a more practical understanding of what lust is. Lust essentially means strong urge for selfishness. The idea of me-centeredness, that's what lust essentially is. So we all make decisions in our life based on emotions, based on what Krishna calls it as lust. Now, how do I not make such decisions in life? How do I not get affected by such, impulsive decisions? There was a guy who wanted to buy a car. Just give you. So I'm trying to balance a totally spiritual angle with a material example so that you understand it's applicable to both ways. There was a guy who wanted to buy a car. And there was a particular brand of car and a particular model of car he wanted to buy. He called up a car showroom that sold second-hand cars. And he told them, I want this particular model, Japanese make, a Japanese car of this particular model, this particular year, and I want it at this particular price. The car company told him, please come here, we'll show you many options. He said, no. First tell me whether you have the exact same car that I'm asking for. They said, no, we have so many options. We have so many Japanese cars. You come over here, we show you all the options. He said, no, I don't want to come. You call me when you have that particular car that I am asking for. They kept trying to push him to come, convince him to come to the showroom. He said no. Finally, one day they found exactly the model he was looking for, the exact price at which he was looking, and the exact mileage at which he was looking. The day he came, paid, bought the car and went away. What did he just do? He did what is called as attain emotional distance. We all are captured by these temptations. We are all captured by these emotions. Arjuna was going through a very emotional turmoil. And Krishna is telling him exactly that. How do we overcome lust? How do we overcome temptations in our personal life? There are 4 simple steps that you can follow in your life to overcome temptations about anything in life. The first step is called as conviction. What is the meaning of conviction? Conviction is an intellectual space.
Sorry.
Conviction is the first step towards attaining emotional distance. How do you overcome desires and temptations? That means there are some beliefs that I have, very strong beliefs that I have. That belief gives me an inner strength. So the first level in which I can overcome temptations is by beliefs. Beliefs are shaped based on what we read, based on what we hear, based on our intellectual ability to analyze situations. But not always beliefs and conviction works. Therefore, we need a second step or a second hint to deal with temptations in life. The second step is known as openness. It's called an emotional space. So the first is the intellectual space. Second is the emotional space. When I am going through struggles or making decisions, and especially when I am very attached to something, when I am very tempted by something, I need someone whom I can talk with. Someone whom I can share my feelings with. Someone with whom I can share my struggles with. Especially when you go to eat food. If you know that a certain type of food I should not eat, if you go on your own, very good chance you will end up eating it. But if you have a friend with you who knows your health situation, who knows the struggles you're going through, and you have already shared your struggles with that person, there's a very good chance that person will tell you, hey, what are you doing? That's called being open. I'm talking about food, but it can apply to anything in life, isn't it? It can apply to any aspect of life. Having an open space, that means having someone with whom you can discuss, with whom you can seek advice, with whom you can seek support, seek guidance, and get feedback is very important for you to make good decisions in life. Third very important aspect to avoid temptations is called as safety. That means there are some situations or some environments when you walk in, you know for sure you will be tempted. There's a group known as Alcoholic Anonymous. This group is into helping people, to deal with addictions. And they have a very interesting slogan that every person who goes to this group has to by heart. And what's the slogan? The slogan is, once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. They make you repeat, once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. And every person has to by heart this slogan, once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. You might say, what kind of a de-addiction program is this? They're trying to help a person get out of alcoholism, and they're telling them to repeat this statement, once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. Why? Because to help them understand a very simple fact. You know what is the very simple fact they need to understand? The very simple fact they need to understand is this. If somebody has an addiction to alcohol once, even if that person has got out of that addiction for 20 years, If that person goes into an environment which is conducive for drinking, you will end up doing it. You can't say, I have overcome alcoholism, I can walk into a bar and nothing will happen to me. Very good chance you will come out drunk. Therefore, once alcoholic, always alcoholic. That means what? You need to create an environment of safety for yourself. If you are going to be tempted by something, don't go there. If you already know that in this environment I can't say no, don't go there. This is very, very applicable for those who are addicted to shopping. If you know you can't resist it, don't go there. And if you have to go there, go with somebody who can protect you, who can safeguard you, who can make sure that you make the right choices. Or at least go to places where they allow you to return after some time. Most people come back and they say, oh my God, why did I buy this? So the whole idea is build a safety net around yourself. And finally, the most important aspect, how to overcome temptations or resist temptations, is called taste. That means develop a spiritual space around yourself. So which essentially means create a better life, make better choices, develop a divine connection with God. Just like somebody who is a beggar, who is living on the streets. And this fellow, he has 2 pieces of 2-day-old chapati in his plate. And he's about to eat it. If somebody is just passing by and dropped some food which is not useful to them, this guy is about to eat that stale food. Somebody comes to him and tells him, see, just give me these 2 chapatis. In exchange, I'll give you a full thali. Hot food, cooked in ghee, 10 items. What will this beggar say? Will this beggar say, no, I can't do this. My chapatis are very precious to me, very important to me. I will never exchange. Will the beggar ever say that? You throw away the chapatis, right, and take that hot food, isn't it? That's called developing higher taste. So when we develop a higher taste, when we develop a higher connection, it is easy to give up on the lower temptations. It is easy to not be carried away by wrong choices. It is easy to resist temptations that are not conducive for our growth. So these are 4 simple steps that you can do in your life to be able to overcome temptations and attain emotional distance. The last step that Krishna teaches us how to make right choices in life. We'll just quickly revise. The first step I spoke about was widen your options, right? I said that if you have few options, find many more options and you can choose from more numbers. So Krishna gave Arjuna a whole list of options that he can choose from. And then finally Krishna gives him a higher purpose. So he tells him that if you want to make a choice between all these options, choose an option which is very clearly in alignment with the purpose. Have a higher purpose in mind. So Krishna gave Arjuna many options and finally he helped Arjuna understand that if he chooses the option of working in devotion, that means the work that he's doing, which is fighting, but now the work will not stop. But rather now the purpose for which he's doing it will change. Before he was doing it for enjoying the kingdom. Before he was doing it to become rich. Before he was doing it to attain fame. Before he was doing it to have control. But now Krishna is telling him, don't think from that point of view. Do it for my pleasure. Do it because it is the right thing to do. It is a dharmic way to do. And then Krishna tells Arjuna that now that you have many choices, you choose the right one, learn to be detached from temptations that will sway you away from the right choice. Now you want to make a right choice. I know so many people who tell me, Prabhu, we want to chant, but what to do? This movie has come up. I need to go there, My friends are pulling me. My besties are calling me. The environment is so conducive. I just love that environment. So we want to practice spiritual life. We want to do something serious with our life. We want to make a choice that is conducive for our growth. But there are temptations that pull you away. There are temptations that keep telling you that this is a better choice. And that's when Krishna tells Arjuna how to resist those temptations by those 4 things that I spoke about. One is intellectual space, is having conviction that this is the right thing for me to do, building the right belief systems. And then I spoke about having an emotional space. That means be open to somebody with your struggles. Share with someone who can help you and support you deal with your temptations, with your struggles. And then you develop a spiritual space, which means you develop a connection with God, which is much higher. And of course, you also should stay away from the wrong environment. That means if you're going to go to the environment, you will make mistakes. You will be tempted. Stay away. Create a safety net for yourself and stay away from such wrong environments. And then finally, develop a higher spiritual taste. Like for example, just coming to this program every month and experiencing kirtan for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, experiencing a spiritual sangha, experiencing a spiritual discussion, being in the association of devotees, it suddenly makes you feel there is a different world that is possible. Isn't it? It just gives you an idea of another possibility of life, which is different from the life that I have lived. And that's what is called getting higher tastes. So right now, you are having the capacity to have higher taste once a month. But over a period of time, you might want it more often. You say, why only once a month? Why not do it every 15 days? So that simply means that you have developed a muscle. These are called spiritual muscles. It's like when you go to a gym, you develop muscles slowly. First day you can't do 100 kilos, right? First day you do 5 kilos. And then slowly, over a period of time, you end up doing 100 kilos, right? So similarly, in spirituality also, you start slow. And then as you get taste, you can do more and more and more. Krishna helps Arjuna look at decision making from a very different angle. As I said, we all make so many decisions on a daily basis. All the decisions we make fall in 3 categories. All the decisions we make in life fall in 3 categories. First category of decision making is called indecisiveness. There are many people who struggle to make a decision. They struggle to commit. They are perpetually sitting on a fence. There were 3 frogs sitting on a well. And all the 3 frogs decided to jump into the well. How many frogs jumped into the well? None. Because they were only deciding to jump. They never jumped. A lot of us are like these frogs. We decide, I'll jump. Many years back, when I began writing books, I went to a friend of mine, very senior, very intelligent person, and I gave him a copy of my book. And I said, I just wrote this book, I just wanted to give you a copy of it. He saw it, he turned it around, and he admired it a little bit, and he said, I always wanted to write a book, but somehow I could never write. And he told me that he wanted to write a book for the last 30 years of his life. He never ended up writing. I said, Prabhu, what's stopping you from writing? He said, I don't know. Maybe someday I'll write, So a lot of people want to do things. So many people tell me, we want to chant. What stops from chanting? I don't know. So many things are happening. I just don't do it. This is called the first level of decision making, which is known as indecisiveness. A lot of people remain at this level for the rest of their lives. They are called indecisive. This is the first way of making decisions in life. Not making a decision. They have made one decision, I will not make any decision. The second way of making decisions in life is known as impulsive decisions. Impulsive means I dive in. After I dive in, I decide whether it is worth doing it or no. I don't think. I just jump in and do it. Forget it. I don't think so much. This is the second way of making decisions, like impulsiveness. The third way of making decisions in life is known as introspectiveness. That means this is a middle path. So impulsive is one extreme, and indecisive is another extreme, and introspective is middle path. Arjuna was at this point in his life. He was introspective. Should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do this? He was like thinking so much about what should I do. At that point, Krishna introduced a fourth dimension of making decisions in life. And this is the dimension that I want all of you to take and adopt in your lives. Bhagavad Gita introduces us to this fourth dimension. Most people in this world don't have access to this fourth dimension only. Most people in this world are stuck between the first three dimensions of making decisions. Either they're indecisive, that means they don't make any decisions, or they're too impulsive, they make spontaneous decisions that repent later, or they are introspective. They think so much. This is called analysis by paralysis. Like there was one caterpillar that was dancing so beautifully, and one ant saw this caterpillar dance, and this ant was very impressed with the caterpillar's dance. He went to the caterpillar and he asked him, "How do you dance so beautifully? Do you put your 50th leg before your 31st leg, or do you put your second leg before the 100th leg? Can you tell me exactly how you dance?" And the caterpillar never thought about it till that point in time. He started analyzing his dance, and then he forgot to dance only. This is the third way, introspective. So much analysis that sometimes you just get so caught in analysis you don't make a decision only. And therefore Krishna introduces Arjuna to a fourth dimension of thinking, which is beyond these three. Arjuna tried to avoid indecision. He tried to avoid impulsiveness. He started with introspective analysis, but then he realized his introspective analysis is not enough to help him make decisions. And that's when he decided to add an element of inspiration in his analysis by calling Krishna. So indecisiveness is not the best. Impulsiveness is not the best. Introspectiveness has its limitations. And that's when you get the fourth one, which is inspiration. And when Arjuna introduced inspiration in his life in the form of going to Krishna and asking him, "Please help me make a decision." Krishna, who is a source of insight, all the insights that we have in our life come from God. Krishna, who is a source of out of the box thinking, which is beyond the mind and intelligence. See, everything, in all decisions you make in life, can we be assured after a lot of introspection also this is a perfect decision for me? No one can ever be assured. No one can ever assure you this is the perfect decision for me. And that's why Bhagavad Gita introduces us to this element of inspiration, which is called as enlightened decision making. How do you get access to this level of enlightened decision making? Essentially by three things. First is read divine books. When you read the Bhagavad Gita, when you read spiritual books that are very powerful, it will help you develop this enlightened decision making. Second is through divine guides. That means you must have at least one person in your life who can be your guide, who is knowledgeable, who is unbiased, who is compassionate, and who has the time to help you. And the third thing that you can do is connect with the divinity within. We all have Krishna in our hearts, and he is known as Chaitya Guru. And he, from within the heart, he can connect and give you guidance, and he can help you make decisions in life. The depth of connection we make with these three, divine books, divine guides, and divinity within. The depth of connection we develop with these three will directly impact the quality of one's decisions that we make in life. My suggestion to all of you all is that invest in all the three. Invest in making all these three possible. Develop relationship with all these three. Develop relationship with divine books. Develop relationship with divine guides. Develop relationship with the divinity within your heart. And by doing these three things, you will make decisions that are Wonderful. And that is what Bhagavad Gita is sharing with all of you. Today, we would like to share with all of you one book that you can go home and read. Can you give me a copy of that? Look at the back. I've been writing many, many books. Just recently, I've written this book on the Mahabharata. In fact, I'm writing a whole series on the Mahabharata, which is called as Icons of Mahabharata. I'm writing a 6-volume series on Mahabharata. I'm sure many of you will be knowing that I've written a series on Ramayana like this. So this is my first venture into the Mahabharata. I can almost predict that there will be at least 20 books coming on Mahabharata over a period of time. So this is the first book in the first series of Mahabharata. So there will be multiple series coming on Mahabharata. This book is called as Undefeatable Krishna. So this is a book that is about Krishna and his role in the Mahabharata. And this book is something that will completely transform the way you look at Krishna and his role in the Mahabharata. A lot of people have doubts about why Krishna did that and why Krishna did this in the Mahabharata. All of that will get answered. But more than that, you will learn so many amazing lessons from the stories of Krishna in the Mahabharata. And this book ends with some wisdom from the Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna answers so many questions to us through the Gita. Just like I've been spending the last 3 sessions with all of you, sharing thoughts from the Bhagavad Gita. Every practical problem that you face in life has an answer in the Gita. So the second half of this book is meant to understand Gita a little deeper. So we would like to offer all of you a copy of the Undefeatable Krishna as a gift to all of you. Please go home and read this book, and that will help you develop connection with divine books. It will help you develop a connection with Krishna, with Paramatma within your own heart, and it will develop a connection with with the whole idea of developing a higher taste. With this, we'd like to stop over here. If any quick questions or comments is there before we stop. We also have a very special guest with us here, Nitai Prabhu, who would like to invite him to speak. Maybe we can just take 1 or 2 questions and then we'll invite Nitai.
So we've made so many decisions in the past, and some of the decisions we regret, and our lives are now going on with those decisions. So how do you change that? If you cannot change that, what do you do about it?
So your question is, if we've already made decisions in life which are bad decisions, and we are regretting those decisions, what do you do about it now? See, there is something called destiny and free will. Destiny is a result of choices that we've already made. There are many choices that we've already made which is not in our hands, and what we are facing right now is a consequence of those decisions. That's called destiny. We can't change that. But what we can do is use the free will to make better choices for the future. What has happened is gone. We can't do anything about it. Lamenting for the past is something that a lot of people end up doing. And in the process of lamenting for the past, they spoil their present. And obviously that will affect the future. So every choice that we make is a choice that affects consequences of the future. If you choose to lament for what has already happened, that's a choice you're making. And that will obviously have its consequences, right? So better and more intelligent thing would be is to start taking good guidance to make better decisions in the future. Based on our own intelligence, we have made some decisions and it has failed us. So why not find a better way of making decisions by taking guidance? Why not find a better way of making decisions by taking help of divine books and divine guides and the divinity within our hearts, so that our decisions going forward are better, right? A lot of things that have happened we may not be able to change, but we can reshape the future. That's what I would say. And as far as the past is concerned, don't beat yourself up too much. There is no point in beating oneself up for the decisions that one has already made. It is better to learn from them. History is not meant for lamentation. History is meant for learning. Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else? Any other questions or comments?
I have another question. So you said finding your guides. But in today's fast-paced life, people don't really have the time. And even if they do hear you, it's very judgmental. So how do you find the right source?
So it is always better to look for guides who are rooted in spirituality. What happens with material, nowadays this whole, counselor system is going on in the world, right? Every person goes to a psychiatrist or psychologist to open up and share their problems. I find most people who go to psychiatrists and psychologists, of course, there are spiritual psychiatrists and psychologists who might, look at your life differently. But material psychologists, psychiatrists, they're not interested in you. They're only interested in, giving you a stopgap solution. And a stopgap solution that brings you back to them. So when you find compassion missing, then you find guidance is very superficial. But when you find compassion is very strongly there in a person, then that person wants you to come out of a problem for good. That's what compassion is really about, right? Compassion is to help you come to a point where you can be self-dependent, help you come to a point where you can be happy, and you can be completely focused on what gives you satisfaction. It might take time to find the right guides. It might take time to find the right spiritual connections. But when you find, you should hold on to it. It's rare, but not impossible. Everything in this world that is rare is costly, isn't it? So path of spirituality is very, very rare. And finding good spiritual guides is very, very rare. And that's what makes them even more, worth depending on. It makes them even more worth taking shelter of. Anything else?
Just one last question.
Yes. You are representing everyone. Please go ahead.
So you said that in a day at least we make 30,000 choices. So to widen our choices, but for everything or for the most, even if I take the important things, like where is the time to have so many options, like not having two but multiple options? So how do you create that? Because where's the time?
I'll tell you a simple way I follow. In the inconsequential choices of life, when it doesn't matter whether you do this or do this, in those inconsequential choices of life, don't waste time thinking. Right? Don't waste time too much thinking. But in the choices that are very consequential to you, you must make very, very deliberate and diligent choices. Unfortunately, people spend more time thinking of inconsequential things. What difference will make you wear this cloth or this cloth? Doesn't make any difference. There are so many millionaires nowadays who wear the same t-shirt every day. I don't know if you've seen that. There are so many people who are understanding that it doesn't make a difference. You wear this or wear that. In the inconsequential things of life, don't waste time making decisions. Or don't waste time, introspecting so much and all. But in those very important choices of life, take time. I think that will really help you a lot. And also, one more advice is, there are different types of activities that we have to do on a daily basis. There is essential work. Essential work is things that we need to do, like go for a job, whatever. These are essential things. Then there is existential work. That means things like sleeping, eating. And these are all things that you have to do. So these two occupy a lot of your time, right? And then the third type of third type that occupies your time is called waste time, right? There are a lot of things that are actually a waste of your time. And we spend hours on those waste things, like for example, scrolling. Typical waste of time, isn't it? Or watching some of these web series and stuff like that. It's all typical time waste, basically. And the fourth thing is called as free time. So these are four types of time: essential time, existential time, waste time, and free time. Mostly essential time you don't have so much control of, because that's depending on your boss and so many other resources which you don't have control of. Existential time you can try to optimize. Even the essential time, essential and existential time, you try to optimize as much as possible. That means, if you, like, say for example, if a particular work can be done in 3 hours, you finish it in 3 hours. Don't extend it to 6 hours. And there are ways of extending the same thing to 6 hours, right? So try to minimize and do it at the quickest point of time. Existential things also. Like bathing, you can bathe for 1 hour, you can bathe in 5 minutes. It's a choice, right? So all the existential things and essential things, if you can squeeze in and reduce the time that is required to do it, quality, but at the same time with a minimal amount of time, your free time increases. And if you can reduce your waste time to minimal, then your free time increases. And that free time is what you have choice, what to do in life. These two you don't have a choice because these are things you have to do. You can't decide I'll stop sleeping tomorrow. Yeah? That's not a choice. But how you can increase your free time, and in that free time, what you do. That's the main choice that we all have as human beings. And that's what whole time management is all about.